Walter eased his truck into the parking lot of a small-town diner, ready for a quiet night's rest. He stretched his stiff limbs and noticed a flickering neon sign just down the road. The Velvet Mask. It looked like a strip club. After hours on the highway, he figured a drink and a little entertainment might be the perfect way to unwind. The sun had gone down an hour ago as Walter walked toward the glowing building. Inside, the club was dimly lit, but surprisingly busy. Music thumped in time with flashing lights, casting exotic shadows over everything. 3 dancers moved across the stage, each wearing strange masks, soft and lifelike, as if they were actual human faces stitched over their own. Walter shifted uncomfortably, but brushed it off as part of the club's gimmick. At the bar, Walter ordered a Tanqueray and tonic. With the bartender's back turned, he gestured toward the dancers.
"What's with the masks?"
he asked. The bartender turned around, revealing a grotesque mask of his own, distorted features twisted into a mockery of a human face. Walter jolted, his breath catching.
"It's just to make things more fun,"
the bartender said casually, as if nothing were out of the ordinary. Walter nodded, though the answer did little to calm the prickling feeling creeping up his spine. He took a sip of his drink, hoping the alcohol would drown out the unease when one of the dancers wandered over. She wore a dark, scaly mask with realistic features, a face that didn't quite fit her body, but radiated a strange beauty.
"I'm Sable Hex. Care for a private dance? Handsome,"
she purred, her voice smooth and low. Walter hesitated but felt her hand graze his arm, sending a thrill through him.
"Sure,"
he mumbled, standing to follow her. The back room was small and dimly lit, the walls lined with velvet curtains. Sable guided him to a leather chair, her every movement fluid and hypnotic. She sat gracefully in his lap, her commanding mask inches from his face. Walter leaned in slightly, studying the mask's texture, and frowned.
"Your mask is really convincing,"
he said, his voice uneasy. Sable tilted her head, as if amused.
"Would you like to see what's underneath?"
Before Walter could answer, she reached up and slowly peeled the mask away. Beneath it was a hideous, butchered face with jagged scars. Her mouth was a crooked gash, and her eyes pitch black, gleaming with something unsettlingly alive. Walter's heart slammed against his ribs as he shoved her off and scrambled to his feet.
"What the fuck is this?"
he gasped, backing toward the door. Sable didn't respond. She simply stood, motionlessness, watching him. Walter wrenched the door open and bolted into the main room, only to stop dead in his tracks. The other 2 dancers and the bartender waited for him, their butcher knives glinting under the dim, flickering lights, revealing disfigured, grotesque faces, twisted beyond recognition. Walter's stomach twisted as he spun, but Sable was right behind him. The dancers and bartender closed in silently, the scrape of their knives dragging across the counter and floor.
"I'm glad you wanna face us,"
the bartender said, his ruined lips curling into something like a smile. The last thing Walter saw was Sable's monstrous face, leaning closer, her cold breath brushing his skin, as everything plunged into darkness. The next day, the strip club buzzed with the same eerie rhythm, neon lights flickering against sticky walls. A new truck driver walked in, wiping the road dust off his sleeves. He scanned the place, his gaze lingering on the dancers, all wearing strange, unsettling masks that seemed just a little too real. He then walked his way to the bar.
"Hey, give me a drink,"
he called to the bartender, slapping a crumpled bill on the counter. The bartender turned slowly, a grin spreading beneath a mask stitched from jagged patches of pale skin. The bartender's voice was low and rasping, as if savoring every word.
What'll it be?
The truck driver hesitated, his eyes flicking to the masks on the dancers and back to the bartender's ghoulish face.
What's with the masks?
He asked, rubbing the back of his neck. The bartender chuckled.
You like 'em, huh? They're kind of a thing around here.
He leaned in slightly, his voice dropping to a whisper.
If you're into this kind of stuff, we just got a fresh one, almost ready, drying off in the back.
The truck driver blinked, unsure if the bartender was messing with him, or if something far worse was lurking in the shadows behind those words.
What's it made from?
The truck driver asked warily. The bartender's grin widened, but he said nothing more. Instead, he slid a glass across the counter with a deliberate slowness, as if daring the truck driver to stay a little longer.